Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. We would like to thank you all for joining us tonight for our conversation piece. It's for the seat at the table. I pray that everyone is doing well, and this week has started off great for you. Apostle shared the invitation that we will be going live tonight for our seat at the table. And our conversation for tonight is, who are you loving?
Yeah, the question is, are you still in love with your past lover, or are you in love with the present person you're in love with? In other words, the most important thing is most of us are either married, dating, or we're with somebody, and we're saying how well and how much we're in love with the person we're with. But there's so many people that are still in love with somebody else while they're saying that they're in love with the person that they're with now. And what I found from talking to people, counseling people, dealing with people for quite some time, since the age of 10, I've had many things said to me and many things shared to me, even as a child. I've had adults that have come to me, male and female, and they've said, John Boy, that's my nickname. You ain't even got me in your little camera. You want to do your little camera, but you ain't got me in it. They've said these things to me, and they've asked, what do I do? How can I deal with this? I'm trying to figure out. I have a husband, I have a wife, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, and I'm trying to figure out what is best. How do I deal with this? What do I do? Because of the fact that I have this relationship, but I still love the person that I used to have in my life. I'm still in love with my ex-boyfriend. I'm still in love with my ex-girlfriend. I've had many friends to tell me that they're dating somebody now, but it's hard for them to get over the person that they used to be with. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to deal with it, but they really like the person they're with, and they think they're in love with them. They think they love them. They believe they love them. They know they really care about them. There's a difference in being in love, and there's a difference in really caring about the person, but you still have these strong emotions, these strong feelings, these strong desires. You just can't seem to break away. There's something that just will not allow you to stop thinking about, stop wanting. You just always got to be around. You just feel like you can't live without this other person. You just feel as though life can't go on. You'd have been married for 5 years, 10 years, and God forbid the person is no longer here. You'd have been to the funeral. You'd have buried them. You still going to the graveyard. You're married now. You with somebody else. And you'd have said you fell head over heels. You in love. Y'all have kids now, but you still going to the graveyard of your ex-husband, your ex-wife. And you said, baby, I sure miss you. I remember all of the things we did. I still wear the lingerie you bought me. I still wear the shirt you bought me. Honey, I still got the suit you bought me. Something is wrong with that because you never took the time to allow yourself to mentally, emotionally, socially, psychologically, consciously, subconsciously move yourself from that relationship so that you can go. Now, the memories will never die. Let me help you understand that, because the love was always real. The relationship was real. The things that you did was real. Everything was very real and sincere. Now, if you felt that you were not able to pursue another relationship, be with somebody else, then the best thing to have done was to put yourself in position that you were just friends with somebody else. Didn't allow yourself to open up, to emotionally attach, to put yourself in position where you mentally allowed somebody in that space, because all you really did was fill the void. You allowed yourself to have somebody there just for companionship. And if all you really wanted was a companion, then you should have been honest with the person to say that you just was lonely. You needed somebody to spend time with because you never stopped loving. You never released yourself from who it was that you were with, but you allowed this person that that you are now in love with. You told them you love them. You gave them your whole heart. You gave them your whole mind. You gave them your whole life. But what happens is now when you're with them, you're not with them. You're with somebody else. Your mind is somewhere else. Your heart is somewhere else. Your thoughts are somewhere else. Your emotions are somewhere else. Your affection is somewhere totally different because you can't allow them. They don't know what to do. You get angry with them when they start touching, when they start talking to you, when they begin to embrace you, when they kiss you, when they hold you, when they touch you, when you're riding down the highway, you all of a sudden snap because you're angry because they're not doing the things that you're used to doing. They're not saying the things that you're used to having said to you. Hey, Sister Lynn. Hey, Cousin Larry. How y'all doing tonight? Welcome again as evangelists. Welcome y'all tonight because the question is, the topic is, who are you loving? But the question is, are you still in love with a past lover? Or are you really in love with the present lover that you have? And that is whether they're a husband, whether they're living, whether they're a wife, whether they're a significant other. What's the other thing they call them now? Life partners, whatever you want to call it. And for those folks that are in what they call them alternative relationships, or you're in a relationship with a lady and you're a lady, you're in a relationship with a man, you're a man. I told you, see at the table, we deal with everything because we don't have no reason to knock anybody because love is love. You decided that you found love in this particular area. Y'all remember, for those of you old folk, y'all remember the song, I found love on a two-way street. And then, you know, the rest of the song said, and I lost it on a long highway. You know, some of us, we felt like we lost it because there were issues, there were problems, there were things that came along. Because when you don't know whether or not you really are willing to give yourself distinctively, exclusively, just to that person, because you recognize that you still have love for the person in a previous relationship, but you are completely, exclusively in love with this person because you removed yourself. You've allowed your feelings now to completely be removed, digress. You have now deflated, let the air out. You have come away from, you've given yourself a chance to now be at a place that you realize that there's nothing else that's left. You have nothing else going for you. It can't be repaired, that there's nothing else that can be done. You realize that there's no talking, there's no more dates that can be brought about. The courting is all over. You realize that no matter whether you sit down and have a lunch date, a dinner date, whether you have a dance date, whether you go on a long ride, whether you go on a long walk, whether you have taken a cruise, none of these things have done it. Even if you find yourself in a position that y'all have now gotten to the place that a glass of wine have not brought you to the place of being mellow enough to now become intimate past the conversations, and conversations have not brought you to the place to where now you have become very affectionate, and the kissing have not brought you to the place that minds have opened and you're ready now for your body to be at a place where it's open, and you realize that ain't getting it. And all that's happening now is physical, and physicality is no longer bringing you where you need to be. And it's now becoming where, okay, you do me, I do you. That's all it is. You have nothing there. And you are now both finding other people that really have brought you to a place of ecstasy because you're fulfilled, you're complete, you feel whole. And all you're doing is holding up space. So who are you really loving? What are you really loving? And that's the same thing in the relationships that we have in our churches with God, with Christ. We have been in some of these ministries so long that we're going through the motion. You're getting up the next day, you're saying good morning, you're saying hello, darling, you're fixing breakfast, you're cleaning the house, you're washing clothes, you're going through the motion of sitting down, watching TV together, you're asking them how their day has been, how was work, what's going on, what's on your mind. You're just going through what you normally would do, but there's nothing there. You're holding hands, but you don't feel anything between each other. You're kissing each other, but there's no electricity, there's no vibe, there's nothing that says that I can feel your heart, you can feel my heart. in the conversation. It's just like you talking to your mama, talking to your dad. It's just like you talking to your best friend. But when you're talking to one of your male friends, it's like you can feel something. It's like the energy is there. It's like the atmosphere has changed. But you at home and you sitting there with your mouth all booted up. You sitting there like you've been sucking on persimmon. So the question is, have you really allowed yourself that when even you're angry, you can look in your new lover's eye and find out that thing that caused you to fall in love? Or were you infatuated? Were you just infatuated the idea of being in love with somebody different because you wanted to parade them around and present them before a new person to show them that, hey, this is what I want to do to get back at you? What do you see in them? It's like the 24 elders when they get off of their throne, as John said in Revelations, when they get off of their golden thrones and they stand up and take their gold crowns off of their head and they bow down before God and they roll their crowns before the throne of God. Every time they lift their head, they see something different about it that makes them want to praise and worship him. When you have now found yourself in love with somebody else, it's just like, who was it, Stephanie Mills, or what the lady named? She said, I'm in love under new management. Because the person that you was with, they no longer do anything for you. They can't get a rise out you. The words that they say no longer move you. The things that they did no longer cause your skin to crawl. They no longer cause your heart to, as they used to say back in the day, pity pat. They no longer cause your mind to be at a place that it arouses your intellect. It causes your imagination to become so engulfed and aroused in places that you never imagined, that it causes your body now to explode in such a manner that you just can't wait to find out what's coming behind it. Even before you get to the place that it is aroused sexually, you're at a place like, what in the world just happened? You're on a merry-go-round and you haven't even gotten to the place that you physically have got to the place that you're sexually ready to be motivated, because you just want to know what's else in the conversation. You at a place to where you can't wait to get on your knees and start praying with them. Thank you, son. Mickey Howard said, I'm in love under new management. She'd have moved somewhere else. Is that where you are? Or are you still in management by the same person that you were with? But you decided that 5 years later that you rather them manage you while you're with the person you're with, and you're wondering why there's so much arguing, bickering. You're wondering why what you started off with, because the person you hadn't been with for 3 months before you met the person that you're with now, 5 years later, 20 years later, you're wondering why that person that you hadn't been with for so long can now just pop up. Name can just come up. You can just be thinking about them. You can just see somebody that look like them. You can catch a whiff of what they used to smell like. You can see some clothes. You can see somebody that walk similar to how they used to walk. And all of a sudden you just get the jitters and you just get all frantic and excited and you get ecstatic. You can just hear a name called that was similar to their name and you think they're talking about the person you was with, and all of a sudden now you don't know what to do with yourself. You just all in a frenzy. But you don't get like that with your man. You find out that they're in town. You hadn't fixed your hair. You hadn't had a haircut. You hadn't been shaving like you should have been shaving. You hadn't went and bought a new outfit and God knows when. And all of a sudden now, your woman trying to figure out why you're doing the things you're doing. And at first she hadn't been paying it no mind, but she started noticing that behavior is different. And you're trying to figure out what is going on. She started noticing you treating her different. You talking to her different. You handling her different. You holding her different. You holding her differently in the bed at night. You cuddling with her different, and she know that's not how you normally hold her. He knows that's not how you normally hold him. All of a sudden now she wants to be close to you in the car. You want to be close to him in the car, and something ain't right. All of a sudden now y'all got all of these date nights and everything because that's something different, and there's a difference. Now all of a sudden, you know, you ain't staying out long and what have you. You coming home at a certain time and what have you, because that's a difference. That's something that's going on. Because see, this is what we start doing. This is what people's reactions are: mannerism, behavior, attitudes, the volumes of our voices, the care that we put into what we do and how we do it. We start shifting and changing because we thinking that that's because now it seems like there is an opportunity somewhere else. because they done made it clear, because you done found out, oh, they ain't with them, who they was, they ain't married to them no more. Now they moved on literally, but you never did. They not trying to get back with you, because when they left and it was over for them, it was over. They had packed up everything that they had for you. They had gotten rid of it. They had either burned it up, sold it off, auctioned it off, held a garage sale, but you were still holding on to letters. Some of you still got clothes, dolls. Y'all still got some of the lingerie. Y'all still got some of the jackets. Y'all still got some of the tennis shoes and everything like that. Now, tennis shoes, you're going to wear it out, but some of y'all still talking about what was bought for you. You still got a whole lot of the jewelries and everything like that. You got folk that are no longer married to folk that they used to be married to, and you're in new relationships and you getting ready to get married, but you got an infinity wedding band tattooed on your finger, but your wife that you getting ready to marry, that's not what she wants, but you can't get rid of the infinity wedding ring that you had tattooed from your previous marriage that you was married to for 10 years. You still married to her because you can't get rid of her. Infinity means forever.
Be like whenever what show was that, whenever he was getting ready to get married, and every time he got ready to say forever, Tyler Perry, whenever what's his name on the Pains, the House of Pains, whenever he was getting ready to marry Miranda, and he kept saying for forever, and he would pass out. And that whenever we don't think about it, and then because I think one of the biggest things that I keep in mind is, I remember whenever you and I was discussing marriage, and you and I had both had said it. I told you I had been single too long, and that I didn't want to get in a marriage that was going to end in divorce. I wanted something that was going to be forever. And you sharing with me, Kendra, that's something we have to work toward, to having a forever marriage. And I was like, yeah, I said, but I understand, because I realized that I do know that whenever you've been with someone so long, you have to learn how to go back and fall in love with that person again, because one, you start growing up, you start maturing up. And it's not always that that person is loving someone else. It's the fact that they have to now learn to love the new you, because you're not the person that they met in the beginning. You have changed, you've grown up, you've matured, life has happened, you're aging now. You're not as vibrant as you used to be. She's not as vibrant as she used to be.
Well, vitality goes according to how you really want to be. If you choose to just sit down and not do anything at all, if you choose not to have any vitality about yourself, you choose just to sit back and not live, you choose just to exist, then your vitality is dead. Vitality is based primarily off of the fact whether or not you want to move, whether or not you want to live mentally, emotionally, socially, psychologically, consciously, subconsciously, physically, whether or not you want to live intellectually, whether or not you want to live in all of these areas of life, whether or not you want to get up and do something. So vitality, even if your health is starting to decline, you can still have vitality in many areas of your life if you get up and do something. You got to put forth an effort. So vitality comes from the effort that you put into whatever you're doing. So if you're not doing anything, there is no vitality in your relationship. If you're not putting forth the effort to learn the person, because every day there's something different, there's something new, there's something to explore, there's something that has changed about the person that you with. But if you're not willing to look to see what it is that has changed, that have become new about the person, then somebody else gonna know. But if you keep yourself closed off and everybody outside your house know more about you than the person that's inside your house, and you sharing with them what you share with somebody else, and now you still got fussing and arguing, who know you more than somebody else? Who love you more than the person that's in your house? Who are you more intimate with? And the bad part is that people get intimacy mixed up with just sex. They get intimacy mixed up with just making love. They get intimacy mixed up with going to bed with somebody, laying down with somebody, doing the do with somebody. But intimacy starts off with the very conversation that you have. So you got intimate with somebody the day that you say, hey, my name is Bob. My name is Jill. My name is John. My name is Kendra. So that was the first part of intimacy. The first part of beginning an intimate relationship was actually sharing each other's name, so that you would be able to get to know who the person was. Then you wanted to know more than their likes and their dislikes. You wanted to understand where they were from, who they were. You wanted to find out, what state you was from, what brought you to the place where you are, how long you've been living where you've been living, why did you move here? What about the town that you like about the town? Let me tell you what it is that I like about where I'm at. Why did I move here? So those are things that you begin to learn when you got in the kindergarten. When you was in the first grade, or by the time you got to junior high and high school, you begin to create new friends along with the friends that you had. When you played sports, you learned the people that were on the teams that you played on, whether it was baseball, basketball, football, soccer, hockey, volleyball, whatever sport you played in, whether you was on the swim team, you understand? Mm-hmm. Whether you was on the track team, there were different people that were there because they were your teammates. So you learned things about them. You understood who they were. You learned things about their family. Maybe you didn't go in detail. Then some of us got an opportunity to go by some of our friends' house. We learned who their mother was, their father was, why their mother and father was the way they were. We learned some of our friends' mothers and fathers were very strong. They were very stern. Some of our friends' mothers and fathers were very mean. Or what we call mean was not mean, but they were very strict. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at the question tonight, who are you loving? Are you loving your past lover or your present lover? And what we tend to do is the fact that we don't realize sometimes that we're still in love with the person that we're no longer with because we're in a new relationship. And we try to recreate that other person in the person we're with now because we indirectly force this person to become somebody else. Mm-hmm. Now, the person that we're with realize that's what's going on. And they try to get us to recognize that you're trying to make us become Susie, Sally, Jill, Karen, trying to make us become Missy, or whoever the person was. Whatever the person's name was, you're trying to make us become Mike, Paul, John, Jim, you understand? Because you miss what they did. You try to get us to hold you, kiss you, bring you to places. You start to have us take you to restaurants that you went to, especially if you ain't from the town where they were from. You want to go here. You like eating at this place. You like this restaurant. And when you get there, oh, girl, I remember you was here. Man, I remember you was here. Blah, blah, blah. And, the people at the restaurant know you, but you don't know the people that your man or your woman don't know them. And I'm being simple because it begins to cause issues, and you're wondering why your person become reserved. They become standoffish. They back away from you. They don't want to be bothered. Or you get home and they drop you off at home at the door. We make sure you get in safe, and they leave you there. And then they're going all night. You think they're going to be with somebody else, but you don't realize you actually offended them. You actually hurt them. You actually caused them some harm. You got them wondering, why did you do that? Why are you doing this? I keep telling you this is what's taking place. So now that makes them wonder, that makes them begin to think. So that's why you had me buying this. That's why you had me buying that. That's why you like wearing this. That's why you like doing this here. That's why when we do these things over here, you keep doing that because you still thinking about this one. And you said, no, that's not what it is. And more times than none, it's more of females than males that do it. But do males do it? Yes, we do. And the problem is simple because we don't allow ourselves enough time in a relationship, especially if you've been with somebody for more than 6 months, to be able to actually get to a place where you learn to fall back in love with yourself. Mm-hmm. How many are there, when you look at this, have taken time to learn how to love you? You learn, you do detoxes, you do colonics. Most of you know what that is, or you'll get you a good enema. And I'm saying these things because I want you to catch it. I want you to understand it. Or you'll get you a good laxative, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll flush your body out. When you flush your bowels out and you flush your body out and you make sure everything is empty and you feel clean on the inside, do you take that same initiative and that same time to flush your mind out? To allow yourself to now be completely free of all the things that were there, because there were good times, because you sit down, you may cry, and it's all right to cry, because crying allow your mind to be able to release toxins and be able to release endorphins and dopamines that free you of all of these things that had now kept you at a place where you were stressed, kept blood pressures up, blood sugars up, kept you at a place to where you couldn't be able to think clearly. It freed you. It allowed you to be at a place to where you could now clearly think about. You was now able to now put things in its proper place because your brain wasn't clouded. Or as the song said, and I'm using simple things instead of using clinical things that we could use, but I'm using simple things because you got to really sit down and think about, why did I do this? What made me do this? Was I so clouded about what I thought was love and what I thought was loving them and what I thought was going to make them happy, what I thought was causing our relationship to grow and build? Did we really put the real effort into what love was? Did we really isolate the things that were going to cause us to learn each other and grow together? Did we really know our likes and dislikes? Did we really look at the things that were triggering us? Well, did we really look at the things that were causing us to have problems where we were always at odds? Did we really look at the things and understood that it was all right not to like certain things, to dislike this or dislike that, or disagree on this and disagree on that, and then find a medium in between that will still have us at a place that we could laugh about it when it was all over? Did you do that? Right. Were you at that place? Because now you found that in the person you're with now, but you felt you were still loving the other person better because they understood you better than where you are now. Mm-hmm. You pull the camera out. So when we look at these things and we recognize these things, or we're allowing ourselves to be at a place that we will not give ourselves over unto the lesser. Mm-hmm. So I want to start this new thing off with, do you know who you're in love with? Do you realize who you're in love with? Do you recognize who you're in love with? Do you understand who you're in love with? Do you realize who you're in love with? Mm-hmm. You didn't, for some reason, you ain't got the right camera on. Camera on. And I'm not sure why they did that. So when we look at all of these things, and for some reason, I don't know, my wife lately, when she been doing our videoing, my wife been just jacking us up, y'all. I don't know how, I don't know why, and what's going on. But at the end of the day, you have to decide if you're in a relationship. And it isn't easy, but it's building. Mm-hmm. And like you heard Evangelist say a moment ago, to have an everlasting relationship, to have a long-term relationship, you have to build to it. Yes. What does it take to build to it? The ability, as you just heard us say, one, to recognize that each day, each month, as the years come by, you grow. You're different. You're no longer a child. Mm-hmm. You're no longer 20 years old, 21 years old. If you started off in a relationship and you was 35, next year you're going to be 36. You look at 10 years down the road, you're now 46. So you have to realize that you're maturing. In that maturity, I may not like the fact that he wasn't picking up his shoes. Somewhere along the way, Bob, pick your shoes up. I didn't like the fact that when she took her bath, she left her panties in the bathroom. Sally, pick your panties up out of the bathroom. Or she hung her bra on the rack in the bathroom after she got out of the shower, and that's where her bra was always hanging when she got out of the shower. Okay, darling, I need you to change some things. I'm using some simple things. So as you're growing up along the way, I got tired of, we got the little racks in the bathroom, and not in my house. I'm using this as an example because we ain't hanging no robes or nothing behind the door. No, you got a closet. Hang them on the hang in the closet, put it in the closet. I like stuff hanging all over the house. I'm sorry. That ain't how I grew up. That ain't how she grew up. So we're not going to start that. We're not the Huxtables. We're not, my dad, my two dads and all of that other stuff, my two moms or whatever you want to call it. My 3 sons, I'm sorry, we ain't all of that. No. We ain't taking shoes off at the door, stacking them at the door. Even if we did, my family, they don't know how to pick up their feet when they walk. So if they was at the door neatly stacked, they'd be to kick them all over the place anyway. I'm sorry. I'm that person. I like order. I like everything neat. I go set them in place. They be to kick them out of place. So at the end of the day, I like things set in order. I go straighten the counter up. They come back, throw the counter back out of whack. So you have to learn how a person does things. It's out of whack.
It's not out of whack.
Oh, it's out of whack.
It's not out of whack.
I can straighten it up and put it in single file. They're gonna come back.
It's not like here.
Yeah, because it's not in single file. My wife, when we first got together, and I'm using us because she opened it up to do that. And this is not talking about my wife, so don't nobody misinterpret this. Because my wife can have paper all over the place. And if there was a letter in there that she needed, she can go find it. I'm like, baby, I said, I need that letter that came in the mail about 2 weeks ago from the VA, and I need to go on and see what that appointment date was for next month. And she said it's right there on the dresser where? And you got a stack of mail sitting this high. That ain't how I had the mail. Well, I had a letter came in, and what I had to do, I had to go through. I said, baby, I had the letter set in a certain spot to where I knew I could walk right back to it and get it. I put everything back like you had it, baby. No, it's not. I had your letters where your letters needed to be at for the stuff you had, because you had certain things that you needed for your doctor and for your daughter, and I had my letters where I needed them at. Baby, you mixed all this stuff up and it's all over the dresser. So it took us a while, because that used to really work my nerves, make me mad, and piss me off, because my wife had everything chaos. They lived in chaos. I don't live in chaos. I don't like chaos. It wasn't chaos to me. It wasn't chaos to her because that's how she always lived. That's why I'm saying that. So when you talk about maturing, you talk about growing, you talk about having everything everlasting, you got to know how each other work. I live in order. My father was previous military. He was Navy. My mama just was orderly because all they did was cleaning. Everything had to be clean. So much so, I thought my mama had been in the military. My mama, when she really got mad, would make me take an old toothbrush and scrub the floor in the bathroom and scrub the baseboards and scrub the toilet and scrub behind the toilet. And one day she told me, this is your toothbrush. And when you finish, you're going to brush your teeth. And I said, Mama, there's no way you go. And it looked just like the toothbrush I had, y'all. And that's what really made me scared, because I thought she really took my toothbrush. Because what she did, she took my toothbrush out of the cup that we had in the bathroom, took the little cover off from a toothbrush, and gave me a toothbrush that looked like my toothbrush. Now, everybody else's toothbrush was still in the cup, right? Because we have our toothbrush in the bathroom, got the little cover on it. And she left everybody's toothbrush in the thing and took a new toothbrush. She made sure she, scolded it to make it look like it was worn out, right? Well, now you clean the toilet. Clean the floor, I had to clean the inside the bowl and all of that. I'm like, she said, now when you finish, you go scald it out. I got some water on the stove, go ball it, scald it out. And that's what you go. Boy, my mother had me crying so bad when I was done. Said she went to the bedroom. I really thought my mother was serious. But do you like your daddy said they did them balls in the military? What? Ho. This Alex and Augusta Garrett house. No. This is not the Navy. We ain't on no ship. We ain't in no barracks. Wait, slow your roll. Mama said, no, you ain't want to do what I told you to do, and you ain't want to move when I said move. You ain't want to get them clothes off from under the bed. You ain't want. I said, Mama, boy, when I tell you for about 3 months, Mama had to worry about me doing nothing else. When I tell you, this day and age, I'm 50 years old. We got to worry about the house being dirty. My family have a problem with me, because if it's dirty, we got a problem. Floors stay clean. You ain't got to worry about none of that. My mother had a vacuum. We had to sweep the rug. And I'm like, Mama, why did you buy a brand new vacuum? She said, I got some vacuums. She said, I got 7 of them. 7? What the heck? Y'all. And that's exactly what she said. So when you learn each other, you learn how each other function, how each other work, what each other do, how you do it, the manner in which you do it, and the reason and the purpose behind it. I have a little OCD. I tell y'all no lie. That's why if you watch what I do, even when we're on camera, I might fix my glasses every so often, I might fix my shirt, I might, mess with my chain. That ain't because I want everybody to see it, and because there's certain things I like to stay straight. I like to stay neat. I like to stay tight and right. But I was always tight and right because that's what I was taught. But I found out that also made me look good. I will not walk out my house without being hair combed, face done. I will not get out my bed without making sure my teeth brushed, my hair combed. I will sit on my sofa and watch TV. My beard got to be combed, my hair got to be combed, everything got to be straight. My wife can get out the bed, brush her teeth, or wait a couple hours, brush her teeth. My wife will sit on the sofa in her pajamas, look all bad and everything. Like, what you doing? What you on? What's wrong with you?
What you talking about me?
I'm not talking about her because the differences are, and it used to bother me. But when I learned, she said, well, we at home, like, be comfortable. I said, I'm comfortable. I said, well, I was ready to get up, put some clothes on. You don't walk around the house in your night clothes all day, and then you won't get in the bed the next night with the same night clothes on? No, I didn't say that's what my wife did. I said this is what my mother taught us. So when you look at it, that's why I'm saying you learn, you understand each other, you grow together. And while you're growing together and learning each other, you recognize that here's what you do. But if that's what you did in the previous relationship, some of y'all still love women that don't want to clean the house, still love a man that won't clean the house, still love a man that won't pick up behind himself. You love a man that will fuss and argue. But you say you didn't fell in love with a man that don't like arguing, don't like fussing, don't like bickering. He like to sit down, he like to talk, he like to discuss what's going on. And y'all got a problem with that. Most of y'all like them men that don't have nothing to say, stay going all the time. And here you got a man that's at home. You had a problem because the man didn't want help take care of nothing, didn't want to be bothered with you and your children. Now you got one and you got a problem with that because you had time to do what you were doing because you wasn't doing the things you should have been doing that was right. And now he always at home, so you can't talk to your extra man. You can't talk to your extra men. Notice I said man first, then I said men. But you was complaining because you had one that was always gone.
Always gone.
And now the Lord done gave you one and you don't know what to do with it. But you still in love with the joker that wasn't no good because that's what you call him. But in actuality, he was good. It was good to you. So who are you still in love with? Are you still in love with the lover that you no longer have, or are you in love with the lover that you have now? Do you know the difference? Have you recognized that you loving something that ain't worth a dime? Because it didn't. Let me put it to you this way. The person that you're in love with now, has it added or taken away? And the person that you are still in love with that's not in your life, what are they adding to you that's not in your life? So you have to look at it. That's what we wanted to start off with tonight. That's what we're going to stop at for now, because you got to recognize what value is being added. While you still in love with your previous lover, and you say you in love with the person you with now, whether they're your significant other, whether they're your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your life partner, whatever they are to you, but you still in love with somebody else that's not in your life, but they done moved on with their life. But while they were in your life, before you met the person that's in your life now, what did they add? What value? And if the person that's in your life that you say you're in love with is adding to you, but you're really not in love with them because you're too busy being in love with somebody else that's not adding to you, what are you getting out of it? Think about that. And on Saturday night, we'll come back to you again at the seat at the table. Who's loving you and who are you loving?